which will be fun, but that's nothing new going through. So track at Oaklawn wet fast today, so we'll keep that in mind. I did play an early pick 5 because I like a couple of the horses, which if you saw the circles and squares, you saw what those horses are in races 3 and 4. They're both prices, so pretty much like spread, but try to not get too crazy either. Kind of put myself in a good position, and if somewhere along the way, I still think those horses will be prices to mess around with them when that comes up. So, all right, so it's good live. Well, what fast at Oaklawn, but in terms of the fairgrounds, fast and firm today. So we shall see. Again, 24 minutes to both of those. We can get the plot and the grid pulled up while we're hanging out. Hey everybody that just joined in. Getting set up for getting set up for fairgrounds in Oaklawn. Playing those races today, and since it's a little bit early before both those races started, maybe we'll look at some Aqueduct and Gulfstream. Just because why not? or discuss some races this weekend or racing news that's going on. I'll into that as well. 25 minutes, wet fast at Oaklawn, fast and firm at Fairgrounds. Let me get these pulled up. So I was saying earlier, maybe before some people jumped on the stream, I'm gonna mess around with the pick 5 at Oaklawn because I like a couple horses in the middle of that sequence in races 3 and 4. So kind of anchored around those horses. I played a couple tickets, but a little bit spread in the first. I might, and then I'm kind of drawing up another ticket right now. I might single in the first leg. The second leg is kind of tricky, even though it's a compact field. Like initially, I was like, oh my god, all these horses can win, but used like some combination of the first 1, 2, 3, 4 horses. And not a lot of confidence there when single because I'm bold like that. I did a ticket where I spread in the 5th, and then I also I think it's like the 3 and the 8, I believe, in the 5th. Let me see. But I like both those horses. Let me just make sure I have the right numbers. Yeah, the 3 and the 8, I kind of anchored on these in the last. I know maybe having a little bit more coverage there makes sense, but just in terms of their recency, it's kind of like a second start of the meet, and they both have some good trips. So let's see. Yeah, so in terms of the 3, ran at this level off the layoff back on the 22nd, had a B- grade, a warm up, and a move. Comes back in 13 days. So I like the effort for the level. Late gain behind a perfect trip winner. Just good recency there. Looks good on the plot. Right in that spot. And then The 8 is kind of the same thing. We had a better than looks that same race. Is that the same race or it's the same day? Yeah, no, same race. On January 22nd, coming off the layoff, another B grade at the level. Better than look, broke slow, had some trouble at the start. 3-horse photo for place behind the perfect trip winner. Just kind of just in terms of has some recency, has the race at the level. I think both those horses make sense. The 9, the 1 coming off the layoff, it's one of the morning line favorites. The 9 also coming off the layoff from the Woodbine races. You know, the 9 has the speed figures kind of in there. I don't know. It seems pretty evenly matched. Same thing in terms of the plot. I know the 6 kind of looks good here. It's going to cut back in distance. The maiden race just kind of stands out, but took a few to get there. I don't know. That could be 20 to 1. I have it on another ticket, but I had to use it because of the plot. It's one of those things. Like, I'm not crazy about the horse, but between the 21 morning line and the way the plot, it's just like, I'm not going to let that horse beat you in the last leg. You know what I'm saying? Especially with those prices in races 3 and 4. So, did we have to deal on that front? All right. So again, we'll get this pulled up. Fairgrounds in Oaklawn. 19 minutes on both. Let me set up this video better. How are you guys today? What are you playing? Any luck so far? Aqueduct, Gulfstream? Anything else? Laurel? Laurel's running? Everybody quiet? Quiet today to start? I'm still nervous about using the video. I know some other live streamers are using the video, and I wish them like all the luck in the world with that, and I hope they don't ever get shut down. But I'm a little nervous. Plus, you know, we have access to optics to look at in the background. So until then, until we can figure out for sure like what the rules are with live streaming video, we'll keep it safe. Keep it safe on here and able to keep streaming without interruption. All right, let's check out some of these other races right now. Aqueduct is 10 minutes out. Gulfstream is at the post or went off already. So we can look at some Aqueduct. Ugh. I don't know. Looks kind of like a pass. We got 2 2-to-1s, a 5-2, and a 3-to-1. It doesn't look like much edge. You know, 3 looks fine in terms of standard. Could be a lone speed. Not nearly as strong on surface distance. And then 2 and 6. You know, 3-to-1 and 6 is currently 9-to-5. I don't feel like I really need to handicap much further than this to say it's a pass, but let's just, because we're waiting for these other tracks, we'll just look. But it seems like a pass. Doesn't seem like there's much edge between any of these horses and much value in order to get excited about. So maybe it's better to just pass and talk about fairgrounds and Oaklawn. Especially if it's going to be slow. Hey everybody that's just joined in, thank you so much for joining. We're going to play Fairgrounds at Oaklawn, just kind of waiting for those races to go off. We'll handicap them here in a second. If you haven't already, hit the follow. It doesn't cost you anything, but you will get alerted for when the stream comes live. Because typically, like today, I don't normally stream on Thursdays. Maybe I will, I don't know. Typically it's Friday, Saturday, and then the Sunday show. So if you follow, you'll get the alert that says we're live and to jump in on the stream. And then definitely utilize the chat as far as comments, whether it's about the races or anything that's going on in the horse racing world, Twitter or real life. And if you want to look at some races this weekend, we can do that too. So I can't get excited about this, like at all. I think I'm going to say bye to Aqueduct. Give me a reason to come back, New York. All right. Until then, let's look at Fairgrounds. Six, currently the favorite. 6, 2, and 6 is 3-1. 8 is 3-1, and then the 2 and the 5 are both 7-2. So not real strong. Looks like in terms of the optics plot, pretty hard to separate the 6 and the 8, which is what the board is saying right now, as they're both 3-1. The 2 and the 5 kind of look like you're, kind of a second tier. Those pace setters, the 3 looks a little bit okay sitting in there. Maybe getting first run on the 6 and 8, but nothing really exciting about those. The 2 came back off the layoff at Delta Downs on December 9th. Kind of looked like a prep race coming off that layoff, broke slow, saved ground. Has scratched twice, both trainer scratches since. And now she's going to show up here. So just keep that in mind in terms of the 57 days. Typically, I don't like that at all. As you guys know, they've been following along, listening. I don't like, off a layoff, you should come back within 30 days, unless the race is like crazy taxing and you win. But a running line like this, where it's 7, beaten 12, I want to see a horse back in 30 days. In this case, I can be a little bit forgiving because has been entered. It's a trainer scratch, not a vet scratch. This one is currently sitting at 7-2. It's deep down, in quadrant 4, but makes sense with that kind of slog. The 3 is the one that kind of looks a little bit interesting on the plot. The race 2 back, which is similar to today's condition in terms of distance, going kind of the 6 and then shortening up. Did run a B- here, had some pace to close into. Same rider, so maybe some value at least underneath right now, 12-1. The 4 I can do without, hasn't raced in 358 days. Oh, the barn change is positive, but tough to get excited about. Currently sitting at 6-1. The 5 is now 3-1. So we have 3 3-1s. 5, 6, 8. Cool. Okay. 5 kind of right in the middle there. It's sort of improving. First time out, special weight, kind of not on that level. Got some practice out of that race. Dueled. Second start, showed a little bit more in terms of being competitive, was wide, had to duel. It was an average pace, not too crazy, but enough to take a step forward. Last time out, was wide. Why do I have this as a no keep? Open length lone winner. So the horse did drop back and then kind of passing tired horses here. It was a fast pace, so this is a little bit of an upgrade race. But again, does need to kind of move forward, it would seem. No, maybe not. Right in the mix. Right there with the 60. Best of the speed last time out for the 6, which kind of looks On the plot, similar trip, forwardly placed, has some finish, so kind of a best in the speed type look for today. And that was over a muddy track. It's kind of had these running lines are factored into the plot, so it's not just kind of one race. But best of the speed, push pace setter, stayed on better of the pair, and then was kind of run down late by the chalk. The 7, she's going to make her second start on this circuit, 4th of the form cycle. Just looks a little bit slow in this spot. Didn't show, C plus last time out. Is a little average. Underneath, I can't go any further than that. Sort of a similar pattern between the 8 and the 3, in terms of form cycle. Improved kind of second off, took a little bit of a step back here. It's on a kind of a quick turnaround. The blinkers are going to go on. So maybe it does kind of set up for the 3 and the 5. Because the 8's got to send from the outside. The 6 being best of the speed last time out. Maybe those horses get a trip. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get too excited about this race unless, some prices kind of appear. Let's see. We got a post trade at Oaklawn, so let's kind of look at this race. So let's do this proper. All right. We got the plot up there. And just keep in mind for this race, maiden race, just in terms of the plot, because the plot can only plot how the horses run to date. We can't make up information. And so somebody had some critique of optics plot a while back, oh, why don't they plot maidens? How can we plot something we don't have information for? We can't make it up. That would be wrong. So, we have to use other handicapping factors in that case, right? And then we also just have to keep in mind too that, horses are improving, or maybe they ran a good race and we're kind of flattered by the race shape a little bit, and they're a little bit, dressed up on the plot. We got to keep that in mind with this. But so we'll look at the grid. The number 1. Number 1 seems to make sense to me in this spot, as far as, looks good on the plot as well. It is kind of a messy plot too, but last time out at Remington Park, the maiden special weight race, ran a C+, ran an optics figure that's on the higher side of the range. Lost ground most of the running before moving inside, so had some ground loss in there, a little bit wide. Just seems to make sense in this spot. Kind of a logical type, but it's not the condition that you can really have a lot of confidence in. It's kind of the downside. As far as the number 2, I can't get there anymore. Those races just didn't show anything. Has been off for 3 months. First time going 2 turns. All those things. B- last time out for the 3. Had a free trip, no lead, no finish. Not great. Took a short lead. Was idling on the left lead. Eventually got to that leg. So had a lot of chances. That race last time out could compete, but that's kind of a one-off. There's one other time a horse ran. He ran a race like that. It's kind of hit or miss. The 4, 7-2 right now, has kind of run some consistently fast races. I don't have notes as of late for these Remington races, but in terms of optics figures, kind of fit in range a little bit, and then has some Oaklawn form from last season. That makes sense. These races are sprinting, does have to go 2 turns, so I think that's why the public was being a little bit shy right now. Because this horse is 2-1 in the morning line. One of those that because of the speed figures that are consistent, and this race is not the most consistent condition, I used, but not a horse I have a lot of confidence in, just with all those kind of changes in there in play. The 5 ran here last season, didn't show much, was at a slightly higher maiden level, just kind of seems probably is going to need a start. Again, just kind of not, seemed to improve with racing and the grass for whatever reason. So, what we got here? I think it's one of the ones I spread with, but you can kind of make a case just in terms of the plot. In an unfamiliar condition. The 6 is a first time starter, which I did end up using the 6 and the 9, and I think the reason I didn't use the 3 was because the 8 was because he's a 3-year-old. But just because I don't, with these horses that have run, even though I don't know what the 9 and the 6 are, I know what these other horses are, and they don't put a lot of confidence into this. So I'm happy to use both those horses because at least they haven't disappointed at this point. And then same thing at the 11, I couldn't quite get there either. Tough post, has to go 2 turns. The 8 being a 3-year-old. So, yeah. So I think I'm okay. There's nothing that's kind of standing out in the post parade, positive or negative on that front. Let's go back to fairgrounds, see if there's anything that just sort of popped up there. You guys are quiet on chat. Again, are you guys playing fairgrounds or Oaklawn or Aqueduct or Laurel, Gulfstream? Anything, anywhere. Not much changes at fairgrounds. The 8 is now the favorite. Not crazy about that, but can't really, 5 is now at 3. The 6 drifted to 7 to 2. So I guess the horse is now the 5 is the favorite, 5 to 2. Kind of tough betting in that first race. So let's stick with Oaklawn for now. And if everybody's going to be quiet on the chat, then I'm going to be boring and do notes at the same time. That way I don't have to do them later. And I'll kind of call out race, I guess, while I'm doing notes, but get the laptop set up. Did I talk about the 7? I think I scrolled right over the 7, like the one horse I didn't mention, and it was warming up on the track, and definitely worth a mention. In terms of has the races here last year that were special weight and then the higher level, is second start of the form cycle. Second start, Sadler's been really cold. This horse would not be any surprise in here. It's kind of one of those that you probably want to use, but again, Sadler last season looks average on the plot. You can make a case for it, but whatever. Sadler last season was sending out crazy live horses, and not just horses that are winning, because they definitely were. They were winning at a very high percentage last year, but they were also running speed figures that were very high for those individuals. Read into that what you will, but I'm just saying it's a big contrast from this season, where I don't think he's had a winner yet, and I don't think many of his horses have been firing either, because I've been trying to pay attention to that, with Hot and Club barns, just to kind of try to get ahead of all that, especially the barns that get attention. Last year, kind of the same thing. Ingrid Mason started off, I think she had 2 winners on opening day. I'd have to look that up for sure. But this season she's 0 for 15 or something. Number 7 in race 3 is the best bet. That's your best bet of the day? I like that horse as well. I think we're on to something there. So good luck with that. I keyed around race 3 and race 4 in the pick pot because I like both those horses at prices. So probably mess around when we get there. Hopefully I'm alive when I get there. I don't have to get too crazy, but I like that horse quite a bit. I wrote up on circles and squares, but I would love to hear your reasoning as well, because maybe we can make an even stronger case for or against others, of course. So in going in the gate at Oaklawn here, and we'll also see how the track is playing as well, with it being wet fast. I've mentioned before, I think Oaklawn does a good job as far as their track maintenance, keeping everything fair, but it's always worth following as well. So if you guys are playing this race, good luck. Two's being a little rambunctious in the gate. Still being really fractious in the gate. Alright, 8 broke slow. 1 also just a step slow, but kind of got exaggerated a little bit. 7, that Sadler horse, extremely wide on the first turn. 2 is being pressed by 3. 5 is pretty washy and able to save ground. 4 kind of getting a good trip. That's the horse that just has a little bit of question in terms of distance. That Moquette horse. His horses have been running well. Needed 1 to run a little bit better last week, but still ran fine given the trip. 7 looks in a really good spot right now. 3 just took the lead. And then 7 faltered. Let's see. We got 4, 5. Looks like it's going to be one of these 3. 3, 4, 5. Ooh, now 11 making a move. Get out of there, 11. So yeah, so with the 4, I think the 4 just distance. 3 and 5, I think they look pretty similar on the plot. Oh, I have it pulled up. Yeah, they're like right on top of each other on standard current form. So put these notes in. Hope everybody's alive going forward. Mine's quiet again. All right, I'm going to put the notes in for this race. We'll see. Sadler's horses still continue to run really cold because that 7 was in like a great spot. Let's pull up the grid. Oh yeah, I mean that horse distance too. It's kind of questionable. There's a 3. Today was the day. Today's the day for the 3. Had to use, but again, we had to spread. Had to spread as well. But, you know, not bad. The 4, I think, maybe went off as the favorite. So. And then Fairgrounds also went 6, 5, 3, 2. So the 3, like we said, was probably going to be a good underneath type, but 6 ended up being favored. 1 is the favorite, and 5 looks like kind of the second or third choice in there. So not a race I'm really sad I passed on. I'll tell you that much. Can let that one go. I guess 7 could have a little bit of excuse because it was kind of first turn was very wide, but outside of that. Last year though, that horse might have won. Just saying. It's weird because at Oaklawn Park, I mentioned the 8 horse in that last race. Oaklawn Park is like one of the few racetracks right now that will run the 3-year-olds, which I mean they're basically for the most part, you know, it's February, still 2. So just keep that in mind with some of those horses because that's really tough. That age is it's really tough to compete with the older horses. And like I said, it's not an only Gulfstream thing. I mean, Oaklawn thing, but happens more. You see it more at Oaklawn this time of year. Catch the replay and see if I missed anything on here. Also, too, between these races, I guess we have races to talk about going forward, but between these races, if there's any downtime, we can look at some stuff tomorrow or for this weekend coming up, or some races that passed, Derby stuff, future stuff. Might as well talk about it since we're here on the stream. In terms of the racetrack, because that was one of the things we wanted to look at, again, I think it was pretty fair. It seemed like, in terms of, horses not really being advantaged, disadvantaged based on their position on the racetrack, to me at least. Some horses not quite handling it. I think that's part of the deal with the one, where he kind of broke slow and looks like he's kind of like hopping over the track early. So maybe not quite, handling the footing. But in terms of, that's not a track thing. That's an individual horse by horse thing. 5-2 is kind of climbing over the track a little bit, but ended up leveling out at some point, finishing right at the wire. One had trouble, kind of steadied behind the tiring horse, but wasn't quite doing enough. It is worth noting though. Nine could be worth a watch, you guys. 9 was that first time starter, one of the first time starters. That horse kind of ran a sneaky good race, actually. Handling the track. I mean, it's not the easiest horses at this level to win first time out, so keep that in mind. Especially with the way the race kind of finished with those top 2 cleared. Some of those horses from off the pace can look a little bit, won't look as good in the running line, right? They're going to look so far back. It'll be like 6th, beaten, in this case, probably 14 or something like that. Where I think the 9 coming back, who hasn't been totally exposed, is only making a first start, having to go 2 turns, could be more competitive next time out at a similar level. We'll come back to the second. We'll do a quick look over at Fairgrounds second, and then come back to Oaklawn. But just kind of look, and kind of the same thing. If we're missing something, we'll pay attention to it, and if it's worth a pass, then we'll just keep plugging along at Oaklawn. 6 is your current favorite. 6 is 6-5. The 5 is 5-2. And the 2 9-2. 2 turns on the turf. I know it says sprint, but it's 2 turns. 6 and 3 look pretty good. The 3 is currently 8-1, and then we have a lot of unknown happening here. So let's find out what's going on. But we'll start by looking at the 6 to see if that horse is legit. Oh my god. A 515-day layoff? 6-5? And a tag? Oh my god. We gotta take this horse on. Does that get you excited? I got excited about a bad favorite. Yeah. I mean, this horse can certainly win. But this horse can also certainly lose. They were gonna run what after the Kentucky Downs race for 40, and now the horse. Oh, that was like 2 years ago. Forget it. Yeah, running for 15. What else? What else is in this field? Let's look at the 5. 5, first time turf, first time 2 turns. You have a live barn, so that makes sense why they're betting, but I mean, the same thing. There's nothing that's really standing out other than the live barn. Slow. Yikes. Okay. Oh, this is another one. A 3-year-old facing older. I think we gotta look elsewhere here as well. Let's look at the 2. And they go to the turf. They are on the turf, right? This race just looks so weird to me right now. Like, why am I on the wrong day? 2-4, race 2. Okay. Just making sure. All right, the number 2 currently 9-2. I guess does have some turf races. All right, I'm seeing it now. Let's get this filter. I guess that works. Wasn't quite what I was looking for, but no, that's not what I was trying to do, like, at all. I just screwed up the grid. Let me restart this. Who are these guys picking? Let's find out. Joe is going 2, 6, and 4. So he's still using the 6. He's not using the 5, but he's using the 2. Alright, this is what I wanted to do. Seems fine enough. Is this horse going to be like a million miles back? Yep. Well, showed some speed here. That was at 5,000. And this is a step up in class. We gotta keep digging. We gotta keep digging here. Let's go to the 4. What's going on with the 4? 4, this I like. Okay, so the 4 is third start of the form cycle, had an improve when made a move, and then was wide last time out. This horse has upside. And the speed figure back here on the turf fits in range. This speed figure is 82. That was a much higher class level. To me, the 4 seems the most logical of all the horses that we've gone through. And I think 5-1 is a square price. So let's just keep looking. Because now we're in like almost in long shot territory. But the 3, I want a bigger sample just for a second. 3 raced on turf way back. First 2 starts, one with Chad Brown. Hasn't been on since, but probably a good pace setter in here, stretching out around 2 turns. That's one that looked okay on standard. Yeah, I'm still going 4 in this so far. All right, you got the 1. The 1, they were entered for main track only here. So that's a little concerning. Maybe they're just trying to get a race at this point. But again, probably too slow. Unless the horse just magically moves forward. I mean, the track yesterday did play okay to speed. And then there was the 5 in the last race or second to last race that came with like a massive close. Did have some flow to close into, but I don't know. All right, I'm gonna mess around with the 4 here because that just, I mean, process of elimination is like the 1 horse, not the 1 horse, 1 horse. But you know what I'm saying? ONE, not number 1. All right, whatever. Hopefully the horse is number 1. Anyways, let's go to Oaklawn and talk this race. This is the race. I had such a hard time with this race. I don't think I'm interested in betting it because when I was handicapping it earlier, I didn't have a clue. And meaning like horses that there was no real big difference between the horse that was going to be the favorite and a horse that wasn't, if that makes sense. So we'll see. We'll kind of go through it the same way. In terms of the race shape, and this is part of it too with the race shape here. I did like I just turned in the Sunday circles and squares, and it's like focusing on closer race shapes. And this is one that, first of all, it's got the yellow plot fit, so it's like yield, just whatever, caution, whatever you see might not be what it appears. Because it's a sun contention, it's a high speed rate, a couple EP types with the 1 and the 6, and it's also like maybe one of those 2 could clear. I wasn't crazy about the 6, even though the 6 looks a little bit better on the plot because of those keywords. You guys see what I'm talking about? Lone, no finish, lone, no finish. Well, I don't know if this horse is going to get lone today with the 1 in the field. The trainer of the 7 also has the 1. So it seems like the 1 from the inside is going to go. So I don't think the 6 is going to be lone. Which is kind of the trip this horse needs, and even when it doesn't quite finish. So a little bit concerning. But if the horse wins, it's like I'm again not going to be crazy surprised. I guess that goes to why was I talking about the 6? Oh, because I was talking about the race shape. All right, and then the 2. The 2 is a closer, but again, you have some contention. You have a high speed rate. One of 2 horses for Diodoro could certainly have plenty of pace to close into in this race. The 3 is the other horse for Diodoro, another one of those horses that's like could be forwardly placed. Let's get to the right race here. We'll look at the grid on these 2 horses. The 2 kind of coming back from a little bit of a freshening, but seems like makes sense at this type of level. Did I go too far? Back up a little bit. We'll look at these. When it's going so slow like this, I don't know if it's listening to me. Anyways, we'll wait for the grid on that to get those running lines. But seems like in terms of the 2, is at the right class level to compete. Optics figures in range. 1 last time out at a similar level. I don't mind the layoff in this case because, kind of pointing towards this meet. It's not a crazy layoff. 77 days, had, pretty consistent cycle before. So just it's more of a freshening than it is like, the horse was wrong. It's kind of run off a little bit of a break before. Not showing a win, but both those races, 85, 86, they're pretty much in range. Not crazy about it. Has a good record over this course. Certainly kind of makes sense on that front. we'll look at the other Diodoro horse. One that, like I said, is probably going to want to be forwardly placed. Kind of maybe can push the pace, sort of where he looks in quadrant 3, kind of sit off the 1 and the 6 and get first run. So a logical type. Again, hard to get excited about any of these. Sadler with the favorite, the 4. I mean, kind of have to use just based on the plot. Definitely not exciting about the favorite. I hate all this, all these layoff lines. I know the horse was winning, but Tactic Plus, so pretty much almost like perfect trip. Flavian Pratt, excellent ride to get that win. Lacked Grit back here. Fine. The 5. It's kind of like that plot from the last race. The 3 and the 5, like in that same spot. Maybe a little bit in terms of is a little bit soft. Optics figures are a little bit light. But again, I mean, doesn't look any different than the 3 right now. The 5, 8-1. The 3, 3-1. Wait, let me go back to Fairgrounds. I think I forgot to bet. We're still at 5-1. So let me do that. All right. The 6 I talked about, and then the 7. The 7's moving up in class and just has to improve. So seems like a bit of a reach for the 7. And kind of, I mean, if you had to pick one horse out that looks a little bit tough to back, it would be the 7 in terms of plot. But again, not overly. Like I said, I struggle with this race. I'm still struggling. As I'm talking through this race, I'm still struggling with this race. If it wasn't part of a multi-race sequence, I would be just watch. But we're not watching at Fairgrounds. And it's basically like the same thing again. 3 minutes to post at Oaklawn and 2 minutes at Fairgrounds. So I have both of them like pulled up, but I'll follow Oaklawn in terms of well, I don't know. I'm invested in both streets. What do you guys want to? Which one, if you had to pick, the Fairgrounds race or the Oaklawn race? And maybe it's whatever one decides to go first. Maybe one of them will wait for the other one. Oaklawn? Alright. Kind of feeling that myself. But if Fairgrounds does go first, I feel like they're going to go at the same time. Then we'll switch over. But otherwise, we'll stay at Oaklawn. I'll have the plot. I'll keep the plot up for Oaklawn, like while they're running. Looks like Oaklawn's gonna go first, anyways. I'll keep that up, but I'll just have this like these other ones kind of just like switched over, ready to go, not wasting any time. In theory. All right. Left those pages. I did not. I did not. I had considered going all here, to be honest, and then I just was like, I just I just didn't want to buy that ticket. Is really what it came down to, and it's like I just had to like handicap and be like, you know, not. But I mean, again, like this could definitely win because this race just like is who knows. All right. The one makes the lead as kind of expected there. The seven was the one that I thought was like a little bit softer. I don't know. In terms of the plot, in terms of the recent speed figures, in terms of the class, um, sort of in the same spot as the four. I don't know. One's getting pressed right now by the five, and the six is tracking wide. The three is kind of sitting in the pocket, and then the two, as expected, kind of looking at standard, is off the pace. Seven is tracking right outside the four, so sort of like mid pack in that spot. In running, though, the seven looks good. Fuck. The three's trying to get through. Oh my god. Oh. One, hold on for dear life. Yeah, extremely lucky. I used the one. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm telling you, the seven, like in running, was like, oh my god, this horse looks probably the best visually. Um, so, oh, did I cash a ticket at Fairgrounds too? Nice. You guys, that race, I mean, at the Fairgrounds, that's like kind of basic. Yeah, Four got home at Fairgrounds. I know, it's nice. I mean, just it's kind of a like sort of an old school. What is that? Like Mark Kramer way of like the lesser of evils, where it was just like going through that race. It was just like, nope, 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 nope. Oh, here's the one horse, the one possible horse that doesn't have any negatives. So it's just that's a play. That's win or lose, that's a play that you can make, especially at a good price, and a bad favorite. So, and 9-2 in the end, which is absolutely fair when it's a strike through every other horse in the race. So excellent, alive and alive. Move that over. You were right. SP of speed of the speed. Yeah. It's yeah. That's why like going back and forth. I just like I have to use one of those quad one horses, and I decided on the one, even though the one looks slightly worse than the six, just because the six has those red keywords. I mean, the lone and no finish is just so negative. Um, in that spot. And so I was just like, the one, at least it's like you've got speed and you have the rail. So that's good for something. At least that was good to advance. And now it's where, I mean, now's where it gets stabby. No, not really. These are horses I like. They're horses I like at prices. So if I'm right, then it's good. And if I'm not, then we keep playing. All right, now I gotta do notes somewhere. Do notes at Oaklawn Park. In terms of what I was saying, it with John Sadler, again, the 4. I mean, it wasn't a bad trip, didn't run a bad race, but again, I mean, was the favorite. I'm gonna have to see where his horse is. Oh shit! I just there's supposed to be a massive storm hitting, and I just looked out my window, and there's a massive storm hitting. So, yeah, it's like the snow is going like completely sideways right now. My Twitter is like blowing up because I said something funny, apparently. I think I say funny tweets, not all the time, but good enough of the time that don't get attention. So one finally caught fire. 113 likes, and it's going to the moon. Funny tweet. Seven is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th choice in the doubles. It's pretty contentious, I guess. The 2 is not favored, though. The 4 is. I'll have to see why. Alright, I'm going to do the notes here real quick at Oaklawn. If you have any comments in the chat, I will get to them in just a second. I mean, the 4 had a little bit of traffic, but overall was kind of plotty. I don't think it impacted the horse's finish. I mean, maybe would have been but just, yeah, not showing like enough kind of kick late. Yeah, four is favored. The 7 opens up live 9-2. That's not because of me. I'm not taking any credit. That's also an attempt at humor. Babadook to the moon. Let's hope. Let's hope. Looks as fine as any on the plot to me. At least in terms of value, right? We have a green. Let me go through this pace here. Make sure I have all those notes in. Ooh, I messed up somebody. Okay. All right. So the pace scenario here. So it's a green plot fit. So you can see, in terms of like the rating for the plot fit, this is like a pretty bright green because the horses line up on the diagonal. Can you see the mouse? Where is it? Only when it scrolls over. Anyways, from the top left-hand corner to the bottom right. So if the horses kind of line up, I don't know, you can kind of see it on there. There's like a white diagonal line. When the horses line up on that, that's what it designates that green plot fit. And so you have that on both standard, which is current form, and surface distance, which, is pretty much like the surface distance, but it'll be like dirt sprints in this case, right? Like dirt sprints in like a in a similar distance. Like it would probably be a little bit different if it was like a 7 or a 5, but for the most part, about the same. And then contention is a sun, so we do have those 4 horses that are in quadrant 1, which makes up the contention. The speed rate is a 20, so it's a little bit on the lower side. And you can see again, there's not a lot of horses above the par line. And again, that's going to come into play on Sunday. I wrote about those closer flows because the par line can make a difference in that case, which just basically means like the fractions of the race, right? So probably not going to see like, a 21 flat opening quarter. Does that make sense? There's going to be some pace, but it's not going to be like blazing fast, which to me, looking at this race, is kind of upgrades those horses that are forwardly placed. The 5 looks fine in a position in terms of standard current form to kind of sit right behind that first flight, but is coming out of those route races, which is why on surface and distance is not on the plot because he's been coming out of the 2-turn races. And it's 220-day layoff. So a little bit of a wild card. It's a hot barn. Diodoro. 5-1 right now. 7-2 morning line. I think was a little bit shorter. I forget what it was in the doubles. I could look it up. Does it matter? I don't think it matters. Anyways, but might just because of the morning line. But anyways, this type of separation in terms of surface distance kind of sees these quadrant 4 runners a little bit further back. So, even if there's some contention, there just might be enough separation for that first flight to get enough daylight to where the closers just have like a little bit too much ground to make up. That's just sort of how I see the race in terms of a race shape. That these horses, especially the 1A6, 8 to some extent, being able to kind of make up some ground, but these horses on the front end should have a little bit of an advantage. And so from that perspective, it was just like, okay, the 4, the 2, the 4, the 7, and the 9. We'll kind of, let's handicap those horses. The 2, as I wrote about, looks identical to the 7. The 2 was 5-2 on the morning line. What I didn't like about this horse was the layoff and the age. He's getting just a little bit not as quick off the layoff as he has been in the past. He's a fine enough horse, certainly fits at this level, but just in terms of value, I just wasn't excited about it. He's capable, but again, it's gambling, right? It's like comes down to value of it just not being, kind of the right number at the right time. Is sort of the way I assessed it. Now, in terms of the 4, he's currently, taking money right now, has still been taking money, 2-1 on the 4. Kind of sits in that flight, which is where I think, the horses want to be in this race. The back-to-back layoffs and the drop, I think, is what essentially just kind of pushed me away from this horse. Again, I've talked about this many times. The horse coming back off the layoff, came off the layoff November 28th. It was a 157-day layoff, which made sense. The horse had a pretty solid, campaign. Came off the layoff in December, raced February, March, May, June. Needed a little bit of a break. Started to tail off in terms of form. They brought him back, 157-day layoff, Remington Park sprinting, 25,000 into which is a reasonable spot for this horse at that point, right? If he's kind of back to his form, in a reasonable spot. Showed some speed, faded. I didn't watch the race, so I don't know, but it was showing a slow pace, and they came home fast. So kind of like looks like the plot, right? It's like a circle in quadrant 1. That's kind of what this horse looks like, a circle in quadrant 1. I think what I'm seeing here with the 4, and maybe why the public is kind of gravitating towards this horse, is, come on, grid. Is that. I mean, this is like, it's a route race. We can excuse it. A stakes race, can excuse it. Special weight race, no finish. So I think that's what it is. Pretty good record on the track. It has races that fit. So, I could see it. But again, I'm not crazy about this type of drop with those 2 layoff lines at a short price. If it wins, that's the way it goes. And then we'll look at the 9. Nine's another one, coming off a layoff. Kind of seemed last season needs some racing, a little bit soft on numbers. Could have some upside here coming back off, off the layoff, being older. But again, it's going to have to clear from the outside. Look at the 7. Made sense in terms of the plot. Some Oaklawn races here. Doesn't need the lead. Can track. Has enough speed to put himself in the race. Seam value. What are some of the other horses here? I guess we can look at the entry. We looked at the 5. We'll look at the entry, the 6, the 8, and the 10. So the 1 shows lone last time out, but that was at a route. Mostly route races, which is totally different. Route speed, sprint speed. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. Even back here, sprinting, just kind of not able to keep pace. So it kind of falls into that kind of quadrant 4 kind of by default. It's not quick. Even though it's a, maybe an E-type horse. Another one, a little bit of a break. I like this one a little bit more. At least this is a sprinter, but late running sprinter. 6. Again, kind of double layoff lines. Most of the race is 2 turns. Barn change. It's just kind of a pass. What are my other ones? 8 and 10. Another one that's been routing. It's going to cut back. And then pretty slow. Again, could have some upside, coming back as a 4-year-old. But we shall see. And that's reflected in the plot. Those being 3-year-old numbers. 3-year-old numbers there, so we'll see. And then looking at the board, yeah, the 4 is still the favorite. We shall see. 9 minutes. I guess you should look at Fairgrounds, because if they're gonna be making mistakes like that at Fairgrounds, let's keep paying attention to that. All right, the 3 is the favorite right now at Fairgrounds. The 5 is 5-2, and then the 6 is 3-1. Jeez. Already looks a little bit sus. I mean, dropping. Fine, I guess. Deep closer. I guess could be a little bit. I mean, it's gonna have contention. This is kind of like this race shape is like one of those race shapes on Sunday, because you don't have a lot of E type runners, which typically, like when you're looking at the form,
At 1 minute 2 post time for this main.
Hold on, gotta minimize. When you're looking like at the form, at least like from a general public standpoint, they're looking at the form, they're looking at the running lines, and so they're looking and like you see all the 1s, right? And then you're like, oh, this race is gonna collapse. There's all these 1s. But this race, there's not a lot of E runners. There's not a lot of those 1s, but it still has a fire contention. So you still have horses that are, in quadrant 1, close to quadrant 3, and then they're above that par line. So there are, 9 horses in this field, and 7 of them are above the par line. So even though it's not, a race that's going to necessarily look like a meltdown type race, it could. Which does, in this case, upgrade the 3. But it also kind of upgrades the 6. And even the 9. Well, the 6 is 5-2. So that's whatever. But the 9 is 23. The 6 ran at this level last time out. A B minus, grit minus. So I mean a fine race for the level. The 9 ran a B back here, a little bit softer condition, but it's kind of rounding into form. Had a tactic last coming back, chased inside on hold. That horse could definitely, at least is a good exotic underneath the 20 at 24. Should we key that horse with the 3 and the 6? What's up with the 2? Not much confidence, but that seems okay. I don't know. Well, at least I have a little separation in terms of timing, because Fairgrounds is going in the gate, and we still have 4 minutes at Oaklawn. Four's a little warm. Oaklawn. So even if you're watching Fairgrounds right now, I know the 4 cleared, but if you look kind of in that second pack, it kind of looks like the plot. Like they're kind of all bunched up. 5 is making first run. 3 is kind of running on inside. Has run, but is it going to be too much to do? The 6 should have first run, but the 5, no excuse. Getting tired. Here comes the 6. 3 flattened out a little bit, and now the 3's like getting pulled up. Alright, I'm glad. Considered messing with that, but just I couldn't rely on either of those two. Couldn't rely on either of those two short prices. All right, a couple minutes to Oaklawn. And you guys know, typically like I'm streaming like Friday and Saturday, but I might not be able to stream tomorrow. There was like just a little bit of delay in terms of getting data through yesterday. Just it was kind of my fault in some ways. So I'm like a little bit behind just on some work. So I don't know. I might not be able to stream. It just depends on like if I'm if I'm able to get all that stuff done in the morning, then I can. But I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. But Saturday I will try because there's some stakes races and stuff, and since it's like the middle of the day, I know this is tough. I know a couple of you are watching at work, and I think that that's like the coolest thing in the world. So shout out for you guys that are watching and betting horses while at work. Just don't get caught, but still think it's cool. But like the weekends, typically people have off and can watch the stream. So we'll see about tomorrow. The Saturday Sunday streams are great. All right, I'll keep those. I'll keep those up. I would like to do tomorrow. I really would like to do tomorrow, but it gets busy, man. Like during like handicapping for Brisnet, doing those. I got to write up the race of the day. The Oaklawn ones are done, but then it's like now I got to do notes. Like right now I can't really. I'm like watching Fairgrounds, but I can't do notes for Fairgrounds. So once this stream is done, then I got to go through and like watch all the Fairgrounds races and do those again. So it's just it's just time trying to fit everything in. And like typically, I mean these two tracks when I can do like 3 tracks live, like doing notes, but when they're right on top of each other, obviously it's impossible. So that's at least kind of helping on that front. We'll see. All right, let me put the plot up for the Oaklawn race. The 4 and the 9 cleared. The 2 and the 7 are tracking. And so is the 1. The 1 was that route horse. 22. 7 is getting a good trip. Can't complain. Good enough. I don't know. Not looking good, folks. Well, that's that. I mean, right idea to take a price, but not the right horse. Looks like it's going to be 9-5. Unless, yeah. 9-5, 4-10. Ugh. 7 last. Terrible pick. Right idea, wrong execution. Busted. Oh well. We'll play the horse in the next leg. Ugh. 9. Who are you? Ingrid Mason's first winner of the meet. This one coming off the layoff. Yeah, made sense. I don't know. I don't even think in this case. I mean, no excuse. It was like the right trip. I mean, no excuse for the 7. Just didn't have it. The 9 was ready to go. Put the horse in the race. So that is that. The 5 was that Diodoro Router cutting off the layoff. And the 2, I mean, the right idea on the 2 also, who didn't end up going off as favored, but, definitely the right idea in terms of the older horse coming off the layoff. Ran okay, definitely beat the 7, but wasn't really the right spot to play that horse to win. We'll see too in terms of patterns. If Ingrid Mason starts to heat up a little bit, because this could be the start of a sign for her other horses after going like the first couple weeks pretty ice cold, and kind of get on that trend. Try to get on that trend early. I wish I got on it a little bit earlier, but that's the way it goes. I hope you guys hit the 9. We'll get the notes from here, kind of see where the one horse kind of opens up. Was taking some money in the doubles, and then we'll look at fairgrounds as well. But get the notes. I think I got most of the notes for this race, but I want to make sure. This is I'll leave this up. This is the upcoming plot for Fairgrounds 4, which is 16 minutes out. The 2 and the 4 are currently taking the most money. Could be some opportunities there. Could be some opportunities in that race for sure. Opened at 11-1. that's okay. Because that horse is really, really dirty, the form. And I bet that horse looks even worse on DRF or Brisnet, like a kind of standard PPs. That's my guess. Because, like, if you're not watching those races, and I don't know what the speed figures are for those races, like on the standard PPs, the speed figures in terms of optics fit right with the top, whoever's taking the most money in here. And it's lightly raced, so I don't know. 11 is good, even though there's a scratch, so I guess it kind of makes sense a little bit. It's going to drop down, but at least it's taking kind of some money. Man. Figuring that the 7 and the 9 were going to be like the same price, like in the will pays, so they're paying like really good. Ooh. Like somebody broke down. I was like writing a note on a horse. Yeah, it was the 1A, I think. Broke down. The 10 horse there kind of ran a good race. Because that was that horse that was coming off the layoff and making its first start at 4. That had some good races, like kind of last season. So that might be a horse that's worth following. Yeah, that was the 1A that broke down. They don't pull the horse up though? That is so weird. Oh, they finally do. Oh. All right. Sorry, you got to get all those. Finish that thought. Okay. We'll look at fairgrounds, and then currently 8-1 on the 1. Let me see some doubles real quick, because before, when I started the stream, I was mentioning a couple horses that I like in the last leg, which is the 3 and the 8. So, I want to see what those doubles currently are, and then we'll go to fairgrounds. Mm, 54 and 67. So that's pretty good. All right. All right. So fairgrounds.
Maybe
Fairgrounds it is. Okay. Some things shifted a little bit at fairgrounds too. With oh my god, what just happened? Sorry, a little tech problem there for a second. All right, got it sorted. All right, so fairgrounds 4. The 2 is currently favored in this race. 2, 4, 4 is 3-1, and 9 is 9-2. I think it was the 4 at first. It's looking a little bit off. Why not the 1? What's wrong with the 1? People have just seen enough. The 1 looks fine to me. The 1 has been running Bs at this level. Finished in a blanket. It's kind of a soft pace. But still, last time out, just taking like no money. They're betting at 2. Comes out of this race. Slightly stronger race. Top 3. There was a little bit of flow upgrade. Makes sense. Not too exciting at 2-1, but certainly makes sense. The 3 is the pocket trip winner, so kind of no excuse there. The 4 closed last time out. A little bit of race flow. Yeah, had the race flow. So that's where, like, I mean, I don't know. The 1 kind of had that same thing. The 6 comes out of that same race. The 6 would be like the upgrade in that race. Drew outside, was close to the pace, the race slowing late. Had some things to like, had been in special weight. The 6 is 9-1. Nice. 7, first time starter. If I didn't like anybody else, I could lean that way. The 8 is a second time starter. Dropping class, broke slow, safe. Got to show a little bit more though. Certainly has a license to improve, just maybe not quite there yet. And then the 9, currently taking money as well, 5-1. Like last time out, is gonna have to send. I don't like this horse. Again, we've talked about this before. Like Brad Cox horses, like they win early, and this horse has had no excuse. I mean, no finish last time out. This horse is no good. Is fine, but I mean, they're not taking a lot of money, but typically they're fun because they get overbet. In this case, just fine. The 6 seems to be the value. Yeah. As good as any, 9-1 compared to the 1, which is 4, and the 9, which is 5, and the 2 is like right in that group. So to me, the 6 is just, the best price. All right. What do you guys think? Fairgrounds or Oaklawn? Thoughts? He's the hidden gem of the racing. There you go. The hidden gem of the race. I like it. One time. We can do that also. We're not going to use our one time. We get to say it for free. Oh. Somehow, even with still up on the day, thank you that for. You started it. You started the joke. That was good. Much appreciated. This app is like really clunky. The wind's just like kicked up outside, and my dog's just like looking at me like, what's going on out there? I know, we're gonna have to go out there later, Frost. Not looking forward to that. Uh, so Oaklawn, I didn't quite go through this race, and I'm sorry for that. So Oaklawn currently the 7 is favored. Who's fine? I mean, makes sense. They tried to run, Remington didn't take a lot of money. So obviously, our first time out, I should say, at Fairgrounds didn't take a lot of money. They go to Remington, coming off the layoff. Realize not quite on that circuit. Shows a little bit more at Delta, but even just that intention, right? It's like they're gonna run at Delta. They want to protect the horse. That's what that's telling me. Is they're trying to protect the horse and keep the horse in special weight company, but they know it's not a top tier circuit horse. So they go to Delta Downs, close but no cigar, and now it's you got to run for a tag. So the horse is fine, but what you see is what you get. Wide trip, Wide trip last time out. It was a blanket finish. Blanket finish, not always the most positive. The 9 last time out, this is a really strong race. Closing ground on the best of the speed winner, but that was that opening weekend where this barn was like really live, and so I just wonder with the 9, that if that horse was like peaked that day. You know what I mean? Like coming back off 44 days, like when the barn was live, like they had like all systems go. And now that they're coming back and they're stretching out in 11 days, not exciting at a short price. You know what I mean? Like last time was the time, almost got there, but not quite. The 6 ran really good races last year. It's just a deep closer. But that horse could certainly win. 12-1 right now. But again, yeah, it comes down to trip. Coming back off the layoff, running for a tag. It's certainly possible. The 5. Sorry, let me scroll this up because I know my head is like covering running lines, which I wasn't like really aware of until somebody said that last week. So I'm trying to fix it, but again, it's just one of the many things. See how these races last year? They're good races, just like no speed at all. The drop should help. The drop helped stay a little bit closer last time out at Keeneland. Not a bad play. At the price. Not a bad play. The 5, 17 looks a little below. Kind of the same thing. They're going to drop. Same type of pattern. Not quite special weight level. Going to drop. The 3 sprinter, 7-1. They're going to stretch out. So prove it as far as I'm concerned. I could talk more shit on the 3 actually if you want. I mean, Jason Service first time out and then never runs back is a layoff. I think we know that story. The number 2, another horse that's fine. I mean, had that big layoff. Last time out was Lone. Again, this is kind of why I landed on the 1. It's just like, I mean, do you trust the 2? I don't know. The 1 at least has upside and has run races that they're off at the fairgrounds. Like when I filter, the 1 is like not far off, and even if I go, nope, I want this first, dirt, and then I want. Well, I'll leave it at that. But again, we're talking 85. Oh wait, what happened to my race? Oh, that was on an off track. Anyways, you guys get the idea. Yeah, fairgrounds is off. Stop the race. Oh no. Hit rewind. Ooh. Come on, 6. Fight back. Show some grit. I think 4 is going to come over the top, though. Oh, well. What was the 4? 4 was that, and then here comes the 2 closing late. No regrets on that. Right price. Happy to take a stab. All right. Back to Oaklawn. Now I can do these. Do what I'm trying to do. Where's the command? And then I can go even further. So this filter right now is the horse's races filtered the speed figures on the dirt. So the 1 is like right there. With the 3 having the fastest race, which was the Jason Service race, like 100 years ago, back in 2019. Yeah, close. Close, but I only bet to win. So, I don't know, if you played across the board, you'll get a couple bucks, but I only bet to win on there. Alright, so you can see, I mean, the 1 running an 82, and then we can even go one step further. And then we can look at the route races. Now we're right to the top. 6 and 1. Those are the 2. All right, Oaklawn. So the 3 is the sprinter, and the 2 is the Diamato horse, are dueling, tracked by the 5. The 7, that Asmussen horse, inside. It's pretty fast pace, 23. 1 is saving ground, off the pace. Yeah, pretty fast pace. What is that? It's 8. 8, that's kind of wide in that stalking trip. I mean, the 6 is that closer. Should have pace to close into, that's for sure. 3 is done cakes. Don't back up into this 1. Come on, get through. And then oh, fuck! Fuck. Well, that sucks. And then the 9 wins. Oh god, that's so dumb. What a mess. What a fucking mess of a race. Sorry, I swore a lot, but I think it's valid in this case. If there's ever a time to swear, this makes sense. What a mess. Oh my god. I hope I don't think anybody got hurt, but let's keep our fingers crossed. That was like, I was like watching everything about to go wrong, and then it just went worse. What a mess. Tough spot for that spill. Yeah, exactly. Right around the turn. That was like at Breeders' Cup, right? What was that? That was like, yeah, always hate to see it. Yeah. Remember that? Was that Friday? Was that Saturday? That was Saturday, right? On the undercard on Breeders' Cup. That 7 furlong sprint. Or cutting off that turn. It was just like disaster. Yeah. It's basically the same thing. Somehow the rider of the 1 stayed on. That's like a miracle. All right. Well, with that, I think I'm gonna end the feed for today because speaking of feed, I need to feed my dog. I'm gonna have to put like 100 layers on to go outside, and like somehow stay dry. And at least if I can catch up on the work right now, and then hopefully that'll help as far as streaming tomorrow. That makes sense. Um, so in race 4, I played doubles to 3 and 8. So far, not as much luck. So, anyways, but just so you know, that's what I had going. Liked all these plays, just haven't didn't quite work out. Other than the 4, the four was good. Thanks for streaming again. You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching again. It's nice. I got invited to be I'm like a new streamer on Twitch and like trying to figure out how this works. But there's like different levels, and so they've already like bumped me to like the next level. So that's good. Always insightful hearing your thoughts on the race. Thank you so much. Um, thank you. I try. Try. Cause I mean, otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. I appreciate you guys listening. I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. Um, all right. Anything else before I hit end stream? Um, the replays are always up, and hopefully we get that done. All right, you guys. Good luck on the rest of the card.